welcome back to Yogaxpress. It's all about moving the body to still the mind. Since our last episode, I think I'm still feeling a little zenned out. I had an amazing time. My team and I were right here in the studios. And I was talking myself through, but I'm hoping that my team members also did a little bit of the chest openers and the forward folds without letting go of the camera angles and whatever, because whatever you did out there, Akram, Miguel, and Brian, thank you. It looked great on the screen right here on the monitor, and I'm not talking about just the angles of the camera, the lighting, everything looked well balanced, so thank you so much for staying there with me. Today I'd like to focus on the first segment of today's episode. I want to point out the different muscle groups. I've been promising this to all of you for a very long time, but never really got down to it. But I did in the beginning anyway, and I'm sure some of you may have a similar problem. Sometimes we're not sure exactly where is your kidney, where are your pancreas, or is your pancreas? Which one is your tricep, which is your bicep? I know these are all the basic muscles and glands and organs, but I'm talking about some of the more intricate ones. If you're not just a visitor, if you're a person who practices a lot at the gym, you exercise a lot at the gym, and you do weights, you probably know where many of your major muscle groups are, but this is also aimed at those who may or may not be familiar with their own body, and that's important. Before you actually stretch, you need to know what part of your body you're stretching. So for this one, I'm just going to sit on my knees for now, just to point out my upper part of my body, and then we'll go down to the calves later. So we start from the head. When we talk about crown of the head, it's right here. So you take the base of your palm, place it between your eyebrows, and then take your fingers, and if you can see me in profile, take all your fingers, especially the longest one, which for me is my middle or my ring finger, and wherever the tip of the longest finger touches on the top of your head, that is called the crown. That's where the four compartments of the brain meet. That's actually a little bit of a cartilaginous area, a little bit of a soft area between the four lobes in your skull. So that's the crown. And then we talk about when we breathe, we do breathing techniques in pranayama, in the breathing episodes. We talk about eyebrow center or third eye chakra. It's also got a Sanskrit name called Ajna chakra. We'll talk about chakras too, and then possibly in the next episode. Ajna chakra, basically, traditionally, is where your eyebrows apparently meet. So right there between the eyebrows. And nowadays we move it up a little bit, right in the center of the forehead, but it was identified between the eyebrows. So if you had eyebrows where the eyebrows grew in the center, where the hair grew, where they touched, right there, that's called the eyebrow center or Ajna chakra. That's the place of meditation. That's where you put all your concentration, your focus. That's also the first part of your face, or the region above the head that feels like it's throbbing when you have what we call a headache. So it starts there, but you don't really feel there as much. It starts to reverberate in other parts of the skull. Now, you have in the arms, in your extremities, we'll start from the extremities. In your arms, you've got the front of the upper arm is called the bicep. You have the triceps, you've got your elbows, you've got your forearm, your upper arm, then you've got your thumb, index, middle, ring, little finger in both hands. The same thing. Hopefully you have the same body parts on both sides. If you notice in your own body, each finger may be shaped, and again, according to Ayurveda, the shape and the length of the fingers have different meanings, but we'll save that for another episode. Now, with the middle part of your body, between the shoulders and the hips, you've got your pectorals, so the chest muscle. So when I say open up your chest, you're expanding the front of your chest, but when you stand upright and then open up, you're not just opening up the pectorals, you're also opening up between the rib cage. You have cartilaginous muscle, for want of a better phrase. You have the cartilage that stretches the rib cage, and those are called the intercostal muscles. They're still called muscles, but they're softer than the outer muscles. Now coming to the upper back, between the shoulder blades, basically covering the shoulder blades, starting from the side, going all the way up over the shoulder blades, and then meeting somewhere here at the base of the neck on either side. So it's a nice, long, big muscle. It's one of the biggest, largest muscle groups in the back of your body, and in the upper back especially, on either side. So you have large muscle group covering your shoulder blade. Those are called the latissimus, or the lats, as they call it in the gym. The fancy word for latissimus, lats. Now, you have the lats, I believe, are a large segment, but when it comes down to the base of the neck, they're also called the trapezius muscle. So right here, when it starts connecting to the neck, that's called the trapezius muscle. That's where we carry all the tension and the stress. When massage therapists talk about knots in your muscles and they try to release those knots, that's where they're touching on. So if you have someone at home, you have the luxury of a family member, a partner, a son, daughter, sibling. If they touch upon the trapezius muscle right there, they actually release a lot of tension in your body, and actually feels amazing when someone else does it for you. Doing it for yourself can be that joyful. It's much more enjoyable when someone massages your muscle groups. Then we come down at the base of the latissimus. You have your obliques, the sides of your waist. So every time we do a twist, we twist to the left, twist to the right. And remember, when you're twisting, always exhale into your posture. You are actually compressing your obliques and you're stretching. So I'm compressing. When I twist to the left, I'm compressing my obliques on the left, stretching my obliques on the right. So the obliques are the muscles that actually come at an angle from the back to the front, and they climb up. That's why they're called oblique, because they're at an angle on both sides. So you want to stretch those as much as you can to really feel energized. Every time, you might notice you're standing in the subway station, train takes forever to come, just move, do a little bit of a twist, and as you do that, remember to exhale. So you want to make sure you breathe into your postures. Where the mind goes, energy flows. So when you're breathing, you are taking your breath and your mind to that region of the body. So you're sending energy. You're sending your focus to that region, and that's why you feel energized. Now we're coming to the interesting part. So you have the lower. We're talking about interesting for me anyway, because I keep teasing myself that I have a 12-pack. But ideally, if you go to the gym, people have, especially those who are very well toned, you can actually see the muscle groups. There are about half a dozen muscles, so it's like 3 pairs of muscle groups. It's called a 6-pack. But you also have a large muscle group right here. So those are the lower abdominal muscles. And then you have the upper abdominal, so below the navel and above the navel. So you talk about your 6-pack, but it's not really the 6-pack. It's really the whole thing. So you call it an 8-pack. And hey, I always tell myself I have a 12-pack. I don't care. I feel good, because every time I do my back bend, I am stretching that part. So when I'm feeling really full, I try to stretch, so let the food drop in, let the insides do their job. Talking about the insides, this region of the body is a very important region, especially in Ayurveda. We talk about the glands and organs, the insides of the body that really matter, or matter the most, let me put it that way, that matter the most are right here, above and below the navel. So you have the stomach on the right side, moves, you have the small intestine, you have the large intestine. They each have their own functions. If you go to my website, you have a lot of information on what each of the glands and organs do for you in very simple terms. No detailed scientific stuff, but just in everyday terms. And you have your liver, your pancreas, everything seems to be squished just below the stomach, which is why when you fold forward or you do your twists, you are energizing, you're activating those glands and organs to do what they should be doing. You're energizing them enough to do all those releases. Release the pancreas. You can help the pancreas release insulin. Well, not directly, but there is a process to it. So I won't go into the scientific one because I'm not a scientist, but I know that you can energize your insides by just doing those forward folds. Even in the breathing techniques, we have a technique we call bhastrika, where your belly moves in and out. You're just energizing the inside. So now we've talked about everything above the shoulders. And then you've got your pituitary in the front on the inside, just behind what we call the third eye. You've got your pineal gland in the back. Pituitary controls your emotions. Pineal controls the thought process. We're going to go below the hip now. You have your quads in the front of your legs, upper legs. You have your hamstrings in the back. The hamstrings, it's not just the sciatic nerves that we were talking about, even though I referred to those as hamstrings in a previous episode. You're stretching the hamstrings, but really those were sciatic nerves that went down the back of your legs. The hamstrings are a bunch of muscles behind your upper thigh. Then you have a fancy word for your buttocks. I believe it's called gluteals, or if you're a gym person, call them glutes. So, you have abs or abdominals, you have gluteals or glutes, you've got your obliques. Now you have on the side, you've got your abductor muscles on the outside of your upper thigh, outside of the left upper thigh, you've got your abductors. On the inside, so when you do the crossover, when you do the Garudasana or the Marichasana, Garuda is a standing one, but we'll do it seated this time. When you do Marichasana or you do Ardha Matsyendra, the one it's called Half Lord of the Fishes, you cross this leg over, right leg over left leg, you are stretching your abductors. So you're stretching. You need to stretch, and the abductors don't get much of a stretch unless you do it consciously. You're able to get a pelvic stretch, what we call pelvic stretch in yoga, but you're stretching your adductors on the inside of your upper thighs when you bring your legs out. So you're doing the splits, which is not available to me, but when you do a pelvic stretch, you're stretching the adductors as well. So you've got your abductors, adductors, quads, hamstrings. Then you have your calf in the back of your legs. So this muscular part, the soleus, the calf is called the soleus. I believe that's the scientific term for it. You've got your shin, so you talk about the shin bone. You've got the kneecap, which is called the patella, and the kneecap has got a cartilage that connects the knee, the upper and lower part of the leg. So the shin bone is attached with a cartilage below the kneecap. Thigh bone is attached with a cartilage to the kneecap, which is so important. That's why it's so important that you don't move the kneecaps. You've always got to be safe. Oh, I shouldn't forget the last part. This is your ankle. You know that already. You've got your big toe, second, third, fourth, and little toe. You've got the plantar muscle. There is a muscle on the sole of your foot. It's called the plantar, and it goes all the way, the base of your foot, all the way to the top. Now, this muscle, especially for those of you who wear high heels, just be aware. I'm not asking you to change any regular practices. Just be aware. The plantar muscle is a thick muscle on the under the sole of your foot. So every time you wear high heels, that muscle gets stretched. And you come home and you throw your shoes off and you want to walk bare feet inside the apartment. Just remember, the pain that you feel is just your plantar muscle contracting once again. So just be aware of these body parts, and next time you feel any pain in a certain region, at least you can identify that pain and do something about it. Now, especially with the back, you want to be very careful. If you have back pain and you want to strengthen your back, when you're in pain, do a forward fold, because when your back is hurting, it means something is compacting in your back. So you want to do a forward fold, release the tension. But when you are not in pain in your back, you want to strengthen your back, you do back bends when you're feeling fine. Keep that in mind. There are always contraindications for every stretch in yoga. You want to be very aware that you don't hurt yourself. It's about safety. We probably have one more segment, or maybe even two. I'm not sure how we're doing for time. Oh, we probably have 2 segments. So now that you know where your body parts are, I believe we may have touched on almost everything. Oh yes, you've got your deltoids, your shoulders. I don't know why I never remember to point that out. I guess I don't have much of a shoulder, but especially if you're a guy, men tend to have bigger deltoids, which means they also have greater arm strength. One of my crew today, Akram, actually, you told me that when you came on my program some time back, I was talking, and you were actually very ill. I dragged you on the mat. But I was talking about men being stronger, and you said, the moment you said men are stronger, they have greater arm strength, I felt I could not let you down. So just to let you know, we all have our better moments. We all have our weaker moments too. So if you're not well, you don't feel strong on any given day, forgive yourself. This is for my viewers as well. Just learn to forgive yourself. I think it's very important that we need to acknowledge what we are capable of any given day. Every day is different. Now, I forgot to bring the chair, so that'll be for the next episode. We'll do chair yoga and a little bit of meditation, kind of a biofeedback. But today I want to take you through some twists, and a lot of the twists are actually in the seated and the supine postures. We have about 10 to 11 minutes left, so I think we're doing pretty well time-wise. I'm going to take you through some of these twists, but just so you know, you need to be aware that the spine moves in 6 directions. I keep reminding my viewers every chance I get. So you have your back bend, so you move back, you move forward, you move sideways, left to the right. Now, no, those are twists. I'm sorry. You move, twist to the left, you twist to the right, and then you've got your side stretches where you stretch your obliques. So you stretch one side and you stretch the other. So in one of these episodes, possibly in the next episode, I'll bring a chair right here into the studio and show you how to do some of these simple stretches seated in a chair. Right now, we're going to do some simple twists while we are still in the seated position. I almost demonstrated that. I touched upon that when we were talking about twists earlier on, talking about the obliques. Ardha, Matsyendra. Ardha is half. Matsyendra, Matsya is fish. Matsyendra is the name of a sage, and his name Matsyendra meant Lord of the Fishes. So it's a half Lord of the Fishes or half spinal twist. It's a twist for the spine. Tuck your left foot under the right buttock. Cross your right foot over the left knee. Now, some days I'm able to get a very comfortable twist, and especially if you have not eaten in the last couple of hours, you might be able to attempt this much deeper than I probably will. But you just want to make sure you do the best you can. Push your right knee in with your left hand. Make sure right foot is flat on the mat or the ground. Take your right hand behind, and I'm first going to try and twist myself a little deeper. So let me first go upward. So stretch those, if you remember, the intercostal muscles. So come up, inhale, and then as I exhale, I'm going to twist. So my obliques are getting a nice compression on the right side and a stretch on the left. Notice how I'm taking my shoulders back as well. My right shoulder goes back, and when I'm ready, I might take my left shoulder back just a little bit. Inhale, back to the center. I always ask participants, students, and viewers to hold the postures for at least 10 seconds, which is about 1 or 2 full breaths if you can. Reason for that is you want to indulge yourself in the posture. You want to enjoy, marinate yourself in the posture. Don't rush through anything. Tuck your right foot under the left heel. Cross your left foot over the right knee. Now I'm going to push. Now left foot is flat. I'm going to push my left knee in, torque my upper body to the left. Now this time I'm going to try and take it a little bit further if I can. So I'm going to push deeper. Excuse me, we are taping. Thank you. I'm going to turn around, take my left hand behind me, and look over my left shoulder. Inhale. Now I get a beautiful stretch on the sides of my left thigh and the abductor muscles. Now abduct and adduct. Just remember, abduct is outward. Think of abduction. So it's going outward. So that's on the outside of your thigh. Push in. Take your left hand from behind and try to take your left shoulder back. Take your right shoulder back and keep breathing. Inhale, back to the center. That feels wonderful. It's a great twist for the upper and lower body. Another twist that I really enjoy, it's part of the seated segment of this postcard. It's called Supta Parivritta, seated revolving posture. So I'm going to extend both my legs. So take both your legs out, and your feet are flexed. Your left hand over your right knee. Take your right hand as far back as you can. So you already have a beautiful twist. Nice compression of the obliques on the right side. Now turn your head to face your right shoulder. So I'm facing the right wall. Well, we don't have walls here in the studio, but the drapes on the right side. And then if it is available to you today, without taking your feet with you, without lifting your hip off of the ground, you want to exhale and bring your forehead as close to the ground as you can. So for this, I may want to just make a few adaptations. Adaptations, simple term for that, cheating. But you're not cheating anybody. You're just trying to help your body get deeper into the posture. So I'm going to take my palm out, exhale, and dip. Inhale, come up. And then we twist on the other side. So that's a beautiful compression for the right side. Place your right hand over your left knee. And for this one, maybe I should just swing over to the other side so I don't have to turn my back on you. Keep your feet flexed. Make sure your right hip is down. Feet are flexed. Take your left hand as far behind as you can. Take your left shoulder back. Every time I exhale, I'm going to take my left shoulder back 1 millimeter more. Exhale. Now to bring my forehead down, I'm going to creep my feet, my hands, my fingers further away. Exhale and dip. Form and alignment are more important than the posture itself, than the depth of the posture. Inhale, come up. I'm sure I could go a little further if I just took my hands out here. And I'm still keeping my feet where they are, my hips are down, but I've made a little bit of an adaptation by bringing my hands forward. If I want to really go deep, I think it's more effective if I take my left shoulder back. We have about 4 to 5 minutes left, so I'm quite excited. I just want to make a slight it's not really a twist in the traditional sense, but I did miss out on this posture in one of the previous episodes where I wanted to show you a chest opener. We will combine it with a twist and make it work for today's twisting episode. So come into prone position on your belly. So prone is on the belly. Press. Keep your palms directly below the shoulder. Zip your feet together. Tops of your feet are on the mat. Press with your palms. Inhale. Start off with your forehead to the ground. Inhale. Come up as high as you can. Make sure your elbows are close to the body. Inhale. Now here's where you would have got your back bend. You tip your head back. But I'm not focusing on back bends today. I'm going to come down, and this time I'm going to do my little bit of a twist. Turn. Take a deep inhale first. Exhale to the right. So when I turn my head to the right, I can feel a compacting of my obliques on the right side of my waist. Exhale. As I come to the center. These are my obliques, so I feel that little twist. And now I'm going to twist on the other side. Inhale, come up. Press with your palms. Exhale, turn to the left. Inhale to the center. Exhale, back to the forehead to the ground. Let me come back up so I can demonstrate maybe how fortunate do I feel. Oh, 3 minutes. Wow, we can probably do at least 2 or 3 more. 2 more twists would be good. Let me see what would be good. Oh, I love this one. This is actually a twist in supine position. So I'm going to come down on my back. It's a great chance for me to relax as well. So we've all been working hard together. Akram, Miguel, and Brian, I hope you've been twisting with us. I'm going to show you how to do it in a chair. Lie on your back and see if you can wiggle your shoulder blades under the upper back. I'm going to keep my feet flexed for this one. To start off, fold your left knee in. Place your right palm over the left knee. Exhale, push your left knee over to the right side. Turn your head to the opposite side. Inhale. Bring that knee back in as you inhale. Exhale and release. Inhale the right knee up. We do the same thing on the other side. This time I get to face you. So I'm going to place my right hand. You can place your right hand beside your hip, or you can take it a little more intense for the sake of the cameras, and this angle may look better for you, for our viewers. I'm going to bring it out. Just make sure your palms are down. Exhale, twist to the left, and my head faces you. Beautiful timing. We have about a minute left. That's great. I hope you're staying with us. Inhale back to the center. And I'm going to come up. When you come up, you always want to make sure, especially from a supine position, this also applies when you wake up first thing in the morning, always turn over to your right side, press down with your palms, and then come up. The moment you rush to come up from supine to seated or standing position, that's when you start feeling dizzy. Remember that as we grow older, there is something in the ear. It's a fluid called cochlear fluid that starts drying up, and that's what gives you the balance in life, in everything. So as we grow older, it starts drying up, which is why older people tend to lose their balance, because you don't have enough of that fluid. So you want to make sure you get up very gently. As I promised, the next episode we're going to focus on some of these stretches seated in a chair, and I'll see if I can take you through some guided meditation as well in maybe a couple of segments from now. But I appreciate you staying with us. My name is Banu Suresh. I've been working with an amazing crew for several episodes. Once again, they've been with me. I really appreciate that. Miguel, Akram, Brian, thank you so much for staying with me. You are watching Yoga Express.